Has this ever happened to you? You're done editing with your project, you got all your files set to go, and you get your Control M going, and you don't know what format to do, or you don't know which preset to use, and there's so many options. So, which is the best? What do we want? What do I want? I want the lowest file size for the best quality because I don't save these on my computer very long. I just save the final project. I don't have space for all this archival footage. So I don't save the originals. This is all it is. Which file offers the best? What do I pick? So many options. Tell me what to pick. All right, well, at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, I finished the video, and now I'm going back to the beginning to record this. I would say H.264. That's it, H.264. I wouldn't even consider everything else except for QuickTime ProRes 422 if you have to have just the exact same copy. That would be the best way to go. But if you don't, then I would go to H.264 and you can start with 10 if you don't have any sort of, I'm on 20 right now, but you can start at 10. 10 will be your default, and then you go to 20 or 30 if you need to. Maybe you can go to 50, in which case your file size is probably be the same size as the QuickTime. So start with 10, and then just kind of look for scenes that just have a lot of details or that are kind of similar in colors that might get too compressed. But anyway, for the rest of the video is all going to be why I chose that and some of the detail differences. So check that out if you want, but otherwise I've answered my question, and hopefully yours too. Our first shot is of a forest. Inside the forest, this was a scene up in Washington State, and this is kind of when I noticed there's something wrong. This is H.264, and here's the most apparent. I can totally see that there's like splotchiness, there's a kind of weird jaggedness. Yeah, as I look through the photo, I can just kind of tell things are wrong or something amiss there. It almost helps that foliage is kind of random to begin with, but I can see there's compression. And again, you're not going to be stopped most of the time with the video, so you're going to be watching it. But I don't know, it doesn't please me. But let's look at the original, because that's something very important to consider, that the original isn't perfect either. So here I took it, this is from the very first video recording. This is the original. This is what came out of the Pixel 2 XL camera, is what I used at the time. And yeah, I mean, it's not perfect either, but it is better. So this is H.264, and this is the original. And again, the tree, I think the tree helps a lot. I can kind of see that while it's not perfect, there is more detail there. I can kind of get the bark going. And here, yeah, things are getting splotchy. Things are getting lost. But not too bad. I mean, this is the default setting for H.264. I believe I set high quality, and I could live with this. I could save my file. I don't really need to keep all the rest. But that's H.264. Now, what if I were to try H.265? All right, now I've got H.265 going on compared against the original, and I gotta say, wow, this just has no chance of being anything usable. And ironically, it's twice the file size. So I don't understand what's going on. Maybe you would kind of want a little bit of blurriness to get rid of all the... just why on earth do we even have an H.265 is what I don't get. Because you wouldn't think that the number as it gets bigger, higher quality. Nope, nah, this is just unusable. I mean, especially when you twice the file size. So why it exists, I don't know, but it has completely ruined my video. But let's compare this one to H.264. Okay, in case you forgot the quality already of H.264, on the right, it's usable. It's pretty good, I think. 265, no good. There's not even a chance. All right, what about MPEG? When I say just copy the original, or if I went back to Premiere and I say match sequence settings, MPEG preview, everything is grayed out. So now I've got an MPEG, and it says the output is going to be an MPEG video, even though the original was something else, MV4, I believe, MP4. But yeah, fair enough. I just did that and say I don't touch anything else. Just give me the defaults. I imagine there are ways to make it better, but that's just fine. So let's go back to Photoshop and just see. Yeah, this actually looks, because I can kind of tell they got these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. So as I look at the two, they're pretty similar. I can see this what happened here. This also, Okay, that's fine. Is it completely identical? I think there are more artifacts here. You can tell the compression is bumped up, but it's pretty close. It's like it's compressing the compression. So Xerox of a Xerox type thing. It's getting a little bit worse, but it still maintains a lot of what the original had, just not quite as crispy, I don't think, but pretty close. So the original is 273. That's my control. It's not the original. It's my original output at H.264, which I'm considering my control again. And MPEG was 855. So yeah, you're kind of going 3 times higher, and you're not really getting better quality. Now, if you were to go to QuickTime, like 422, all of a sudden now you've got pretty much a clone of the original. The original wasn't perfect, and this one isn't perfect either, but you pretty much got the original. I can kind of see all these little dots are the same. So if I wanted that, I got it. So you can do that if you want. However, your file size is just going to be huge, like much, much bigger. So if I go to 100%, I can see this is 66, not 100. All right. So now I can kind of see I've got the same copy. And again, the original wasn't all that great with all that compression, but this is no worse. So if you need the original, there you go. You can export that way. But for me, like I said, I don't want the original. I don't want the file size matters probably more than well, they're both important. That's why I'm looking for the secret sauce. So for sample one, I would have to say that yes, by far H.264, unless you need to be perfect, in which case yes, QuickTime 422, but otherwise H.264. Now for the second comparison shot, I have quite a different type of photo or screenshot, and this one got some seaweed on some driftwood and some rocks. I don't really see any problems with either one. Original is on the top and H.264 is on the bottom, and if I look at it, really I see all the details on it. I see the pieces of wood. I really don't see any evidence of compression at all. The original's pretty good, which makes it easier for the copy to be pretty good too. Well, let's zoom in and see if there's any issues. I'm at 300% now, and I'm really having trouble seeing any differences. Doesn't mean they're not there, but yeah, H.264 did such a good job that, yeah, it almost seems better than the original. But yeah, I don't really see, wow. I mean, if you look at it, again, if I can save so much more file size, then by all means, I'm going to do it. But I look at this thing and I think this is pretty cool. Yeah, 500% now, and it just looks great. I mean, the original's not perfect, so this one's not perfect, but as compared to each other, it's pretty good. Okay, H.265 at the bottom, and here's an oddity. A lot of the frames have kind of an overlay. I didn't do anything special on exporting it. I just said as is, but we kind of got this ghosting effect going on. Again, this is probably 3 times the file size as H.264, and why? It's like I'm paying more and getting less. I just don't understand. But I was able to get a frame that was pretty close by that at least didn't have the ghosting going on. But there's a lot of ghosting, and you do notice it during the video. Why does H.265 exist? I don't know. Alright, this is H.265, and what I did for this one is actually I bumped it up to like 13 megabyte, because you can control the output, and so I had selected H.265, and I said for quality, just go way up. So bitrate, I went up to like 13, just to see. And does it help? It actually can, maybe in little places. I got my little slivers there, I suppose. But in other places, yeah, it's just kind of making it a watercolor painting, which I don't want. If I wanted that effect, I would do it in Premiere. But yeah, just all sorts of kind of blurring it out, and I lost the what little I could see of the ocean. It's just useless. So, I mean, we could zoom in, but there's really no point. H.265 is just no good, even if I do bump it up. Maybe if I just kept going to as high as it could go, but it's just ridiculous. Here is our MPEG at the bottom and the original on top, and I would say that MPEG is pretty good. I'm not seeing anything at this resolution that would suggest much of a difference. I could zoom in and maybe we'll find something. Okay, now the compression is becoming more evident. I can see little things this went to that. It doesn't really matter for something like this. But there's not too much. MPEG is decent. It's just, again, 3 times higher and not any better than 264. It's worse, in fact. So yeah, I don't like stuff like these little artifacts. That gets annoying fast. You see a little ghosting around that. Yeah, there's some on the original, but not that bad. Now they're just starting to come out. Like these came out of nowhere. A bit of a fringe ghosting going on. Don't like that, so I would not use MPEG over to H.264. And now we have QuickTime, which again, clone of the original. I mean, pretty much, I think it is a clone of the original. So there's really nothing to compare or see. What you see in the original is what you'll get on QuickTime, ProRes, 422. So if you need it, there you go. Looks like a tongue sticking out of the rock or the driftwood. Won't waste any more time with this one. Our third and final shot to evaluate is of a forest in the background beyond the beach. And I gotta say that I'm glad I'm doing this because I'm learning something myself. I really thought 264 was pretty close, but I can kind of tell that the forest is becoming a little blurred out. I'm losing a lot of detail in these areas. For a full video, it doesn't really matter. I'm catching the details in other areas, but I can definitely tell some splotchiness is going on. So I'm not thrilled with that, and I'd have to really consider, because again, if I throw away my original on the left here, I'll never get this detail back because this doesn't have it. It's gone. I can't enhance. It doesn't exist. Now for H.265, you're going to have the same problems, just more of it. Yeah, we got some watercolor effect going on there. Pretty much what we did. Lots of lost detail. I can just tell right away that it's just kind of blurring it out. I've lost all the little holes in the wood. Not a fan. We can zoom in. So here, yeah, my leaves are going away. My driftwood doesn't look as good anymore. It's just sad. And just for fun, I did an H.265 with a 13 megabit bit rate. Yeah, and it's not getting me my details back. A little better, but still, everything's gone. And once again, QuickTime is, yeah, QuickTime ProRes, pretty much a clone, a copy. If that's what you need, that's what you got. Okay, I got a little curious and thought I got to know. So we tried H.264 at 30 megabit per second and against the original. So if I did want that forest back at this point, it would probably wouldn't show in the other scenes. But if I really wanted to get that less splotchy, and again, the original is kind of splotchy, but I do have it much closer now. I lose a little, still losing stuff. It's just never going to be perfect, but it's better. But I also tripled my file size, which I didn't exactly like. So I went from 200 like 800 megabyte in file size. Just for this one little scene, I don't know if that's worth it. But what about 20? Okay, 20. Let's go and find something that matches. So at 20 against the original, yeah. I mean, I think it's okay. I think we still got to deal with some things, but overall, and if we were comparing that original we had a while ago, let's go ahead and see that. Oh, they're pretty close. There's not too much, a little bit more detail. Go back to 30 and see. Yeah, 30's definitely got. Yeah, 30 I start to get my detail back. So it just depends on what you're looking for. And again, people won't be zoomed in this much. There's 100%. There's 100%. So going with the original at 100%. Can I get the 100%? There you go. No, I can't. All right. So yeah. So yeah, 20, well, 30. 30 I definitely have my details back. And at 20, not bad. So again, this is a video. It's not going by too slowly. So would you really even notice it? Do you need it? I guess it depends if you ever have to zoom in that much. So now I learned 264, and then yeah, just consider your megabit rate and how much you want to sacrifice your file size, and if you need to. If you don't have a scene like this, then considering all the other scenes in my project, I think I would settle for just 10 because the original is 10. So that's it. H.264. There's your answer.